Should you buy Ghost Recon Wildlands in 2021? Ghost Recon Wildlands released in 2017 and was met with fairly positive reviews, but how does Ghost Recon Wildlands hold up today? After the release of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which was a complete disaster, I always wanted to try out Wildlands just to see if the game is actually as good as people said. And well, it's good, but it's Ubisoft, and I think you know what you're getting with a Ubisoft game, but let me take you on a little journey. This is my Ghost Recon Wildlands review. If you enjoy this content, please smash that like button, it helps out a lot, and well, you can also join the 5,000 others that have subscribed to the channel. That is just genuinely awesome to say, so thank you so much, guys. And we also have a Discord down below. Don't forget to join if you want to talk about games or you know, you're feeling lonely. Ghost Recon Wildlands is very Ubisoft. You get a giant open world surrounded by content, or more specifically like 7 different missions duplicated across the world with some pretty decent gameplay and a pretty awful story. But let's start with the open world.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
The open world of Ghost Recon Wildlands is actually pretty good. The AI is pretty awful and it can feel lifeless sometimes, but the scenery of Bolivia is really great and you could stare at it for a long time. There's a ton of variety from little towns to giant green spaces, and it really is, if I dare say it, breathtaking to look at.
Then check this out.
Especially when flying over these places in a chopper. But this is Ubisoft. Let's not kid ourselves. How much is there really to do in this beautiful virtual playground? There is a lot if you consider copy and paste content a lot. Surprisingly enough though, I didn't mind it too much, but I haven't fully beaten the game yet, so that may change. But you know, if I'm not tired of it at this point, I highly doubt I'll be tired of it by the end. But that's just my opinion, so from a critic standpoint, this can be seen as very lazy. But for me, it's working. It's the same objectives with varying environments, of course. Every game has a specific loop, but the key to that loop is hiding the fact that it is an actual gameplay loop. Look at The Witcher 3. Everything you do in that game is very similar. Go to place, sniff the ground, hunt monster, give me money. But The Witcher 3 doesn't get boring because it does its best at hiding the fact it's just a gameplay loop, to avoid breaking immersion firstly, but also to keep the player engaged and enjoying themselves. And Ghost Recon Wildlands is not one of those games that's going to work for everyone. It worked for me so far, but that's because I've had some extra time to really get into it, but I can definitely see people getting tired of the gameplay loop because of how obvious it is. So these activities are either clearing areas of the cartel, so you know exactly what that is. It's Far Cry 3 Outpost, but in third person and first person in Bolivia. And that's the one objective that is repeated the most, so if you do enjoy that kind of gameplay, or more specifically, as I have mentioned, gameplay loop, this could probably become one of your favorite games due to how these activities work. You can attack these objectives through stealth or a full-on assault with vehicles, choppers, etc. And it really gives you that freedom to take these places on, and it's not just a marketing gimmick this time around. I really felt like I could do pretty much anything in terms of taking these bases on, every single one of them. They never felt limiting to me in a way. The other activities vary from collecting different items, finding different weapon cases, etc. And you also have a skill tree, which is pretty cool and quite useful at times. A lot of Ubisoft games today either get rid of the skill tree or have a skill tree that really is useless, but I'm happy to say Wildlands has a pretty decent skill tree and provides that sense of accomplishment EA wanted you to feel when you spend £50 on a microtransaction. And don't worry, we'll get into how Wildlands is monetized. This is a Ubisoft game after all. So one of the better selling points of Wildlands is that you can play this in co-op with up to 4 players, so you and 3 of your mates. And of course, I didn't use this feature because that requires socializing and teamwork.
No, you cannot joke about that.
However, from what I've seen, it's integrated well and might be the best way to play Ghost Recon Wildlands, as the story here is not good. And to be honest, much like Watch Dogs Legion, you might be better making a story up in your head and playing the open world stuff, adding your own little narrative to it to make it unique to you.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
So the story, you're basically tasked with taking down the cartel. The end. That's it. Obviously there's little story moments in there, but at the end of the day, that's it. And to be honest, it's not even that bad. It's just mediocre and generic. It's there, but you don't care. It's the foundation for the gameplay that gives you a reason to play the game other than the fun factor. And I guess it worked, but don't play this game for the story. The Tom Clancy games are no longer about that, so don't buy Wildlands looking for some amazing, thought-provoking story and gameplay loop. So everything relies on the gunplay, customization, and gadgets, and I'm happy to say there is a lot here. Gunplay feels pretty good. It's not the best third-person gunplay I've ever played. That still goes to Max Payne 3 for me personally, as that's probably my favorite third-person shooter game at the moment. Guns feel unique to each other and provide their own positives and negatives, while also making skill feel actually useful, as pretty much every weapon is a one-hit headshot, and I personally like that. I just wish the AI wasn't as easy as it is. You have assault rifles, pistols, snipers, shotguns, etc. Basically any weapon you feel like using, Wildlands probably has it, and you can customize that weapon to your heart's content. Gun customization is probably the best part of Wildlands for me because of how in-depth it is. You can change your camo, to your bullets, to your scopes, to all sorts of things on your weapon that I don't really understand, but I love messing around with it. It really is fun messing around with it and seeing what kind of combinations you can come up with. However, this is all fantastic, but with the AI being as thick as it is, it's really hard to feel like the customization will actually amount to anything other than feeling cooler than usual. The AI tends to walk around doing nothing until they eventually see you and proceed to kind of just run at you rather than taking cover most of the time, but sometimes they're actually quite smart and take cover and attempt to flank you, but this was rarely the case for me. The monetization is your usual stuff. Microtransactions for skins, camos, etc. I am really tired of talking about monetization as it seems to be the major issue with many games today, so I'm just going to move on. Just know it's just as predatory as every other Ubisoft game, and I really don't think you should play it if you don't like microtransactions. That's all I'll say. Other than that, I really don't have much to say about Wildlands. It's another Ubisoft game designed to fill your time up for 50 hours until the next game in the franchise releases. I do think you should buy it if you are looking for that chilled out, open world, time wasting kind of experience, and it's way better than Ghost Recon Breakpoint. If you're after anything else, I would recommend spending your money somewhere else. Thank you for watching.